So, it's 2014. Should you still consider buying an Xbox 360? Well, hell yeah, why not? But before we get to this video, here's the question of the day. Alright, so I'm reading this article on GameSpot, and this is an interesting one because basically it was discussing the Xbox 360 in 2014, and they talked about how, should you buy the 360 this year? Is it worth getting at this time? Well into 8 years into the 360's life cycle? I mean, my god, this thing came out originally in '05. Oh, '05, the mid-2000s. I was 18 years old. In my first year of college. And when this thing came out, when it dropped, it was a brand new system. And now many years later, 2014, I can't even believe it. Should you still consider getting it? And it's very interesting, they try to break it down and they gave reasons, and we're going to take a look at some of the reasons if you should still consider getting a 360 if you've never had one before or considered getting one. To make it short, I'm saying yes. I'm recommending it and getting it. Actually, highly recommend it if you've never experienced it and want to know what 3D gaming is all about and want to experience HD graphics. But let's take a look at the reasoning from GameSpot. Okay, the library. Yeah, so they talked about how there's so many titles available for this console. And they brought up all the mega blockbuster games, no fewer than 9 CODs, that's right, 9 Call of Duty games, 6 Assassin's Creed games, and 2 Grand Theft Autos. 2? That one I have a bit of a problem. I gotta correct that one because, there's like 4, okay? You had the one with GTA 4 and then a couple of add-ons, which are still separate games. I mean, I consider them separate. They were released separately and then together, I guess, in a bundle, which was Lost and Damned and Ballad of Gay Tony. So it's like 3 separate story lines. And then you have GTA 5, of course. But that's a very, very long list of titles, particularly with the CODs. I can't believe 9 Call of Duties. If I'm not mistaken, Call of Duty 2, the second one, also came out for the 360. So like it's starting all the way from the second one. But then they also mentioned how there's a bunch of like smaller indie games, experimental games, Spelunky, Braid, Castle Crashers, Limbo. I'm a fan of the smaller ones too. I love the Xbox Live arcade games. I try to get the collections now and again. It's cool, man. The back catalog for sure is a very impressive list. I still play the 360. As a matter of fact, I'm playing it right now. I've been playing it for the past few months now. Just recently got a slim model because I've had the fat model for a while, and it's just you never know. That thing can just red ring any moment, so nice to have a backup. So I'm just gaming out on the slim right now, and it's great, man. It's cool. 360 Slim. I would highly recommend getting the slim model. But what I didn't know was they actually had a new model. They had a new version of this. We're gonna get to that a little bit later, but speaking of the actual games though, they mentioned the exclusives, certain exclusives for the 360. And they talked about how, Forza Motorsport came of age on the 360 and now stands toe-to-toe with Gran Turismo as one of the best racing sims on the market. I'll be honest, I never liked Forza. I don't really like the simulator racing thing, but I don't like Gran Turismo either, so it's like I can't stand both of them. That's for like specific niche audience of simulator people that like to do that racing simulating thing. Ugh. Halo, of course, continued to offer some of the most exciting sandbox shooter action around. I never saw Halo as a sandbox shooter. That's weird. I always felt it was more linear, but just with a big open space. But it was a linear shooting action game in the first place. I never saw it as an open world sandbox game, but I guess that's what Halo is. I never thought of it that way, but even after the series' stewardship transferred from Bungie to 343 with the excellent Halo 4. Oh my gosh, Halo 4, yeah. I gotta play Halo 4 someday, you know. It looks good, but I'm sure one of these days I'll try it. It's just that I fell out of Halo for a while now. You know, it's like my interest level, it's kind of like, you know, been there, done that kind of thing. And then you have Gears of War, Fable, and if you're okay breaking a sweat, Dance Central. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Gears, you know, I don't know, I still, this is gonna sound crazy, I haven't beaten the first Gears of War yet. I really have yet to get into that one. You know, there's something about it that's, I feel, is very 2006. Like, I understand when it first came out, the graphics were good, and it felt kinda, you know, the cover system was sort of memorable. I really have yet to get into that. I think I listed it as one of my most overrated games, but it's not a bad game. It's actually decent, but it's just straightforward shooting. Fable, of course. I mean, I like Fable. You know, I'm definitely a fan of that. I've never gotten to Dance Central. That I believe that's a Kinect game. Kind of curious with the Kinect thing too. I haven't done any of the Kinect shit. Like, not really. I mean, it's like, you know, once in a while you'll come across a Kinect game, but I've yet to really experience like the best games available for it, if there's any. It seems like an add-on peripheral that is more kind of a Wii crowd kind of thing. And the Dance Central thing to me is very, with dancing, I prefer to dance in real life. You know what I mean? Like, I used to b-boy in high school, so I appreciate actual dancing instead of in front of the television, blah 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 blah. But I am curious about it. Like, it's one of those things that could be fun. Like, I look at it and this has potential. Geometry Wars, the guy mentioned Geometry Wars. That's good. I like Geometry Wars. My favorite games on the 360 would be games like the fighting games. You know, if you got a fighting stick, I had to get the arcade stick for Tekken 6, because obviously you know, the controller in 360 is just whack. So, you know, games like Dead or Alive series, for example, or, you know, Soul Calibur 4, or Virtua Fighter 5, you know, games like Mortal Kombat, Super Street Fighter 4, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, and so on and so forth. You know, I love the fighters. I think my favorite game for sure, though, would be Dead or Alive Extreme 2 on the 360. I still play that occasionally, you know, just to collect more swimsuits for these damn bitches, you know what I mean? It's like, there's so many swimsuits in that game, and it takes forever. It's got to be the most tedious game in the world. It's the biggest time-wasting, time-consuming game I've ever played in my life. Dead or Alive Extreme 2. Came way back in 2006. You know, I still remember when it first dropped, and my god, this was so long ago. The very first year of YouTube, you know what I mean? When YouTube was really starting to pop off in 2006. 06 was when everybody started uploading shit, you know. Everybody had an account in 06. Everybody had their own little vlog fucking channel. So that's when, around the time when Gears of War came out, the first Dead Rising, and Dead or Alive Extreme 2. and everybody like uploaded their video clips of these games on YouTube. And yeah, it's just very nostalgic now, just looking back on it, like holy shit, like that was like 7 years ago. It's crazy. Yeah, so yeah, that's a very tedious game. Fucking Dead or Alive, man. I wish they made a new one. I would buy the Xbox One if they had a DOA Extreme 3, a third one with even more mini games and like more characters, more activities to do. Because I like that's just such a weird game. It's such a unique game to me. It's like a mix of jet ski racing, kind of like Wave Race, mixed with volleyball, a sports team-based game, sexy bitches in bikinis, casino games, like fucking what do you call that thing? The goddamn put the dice and you're betting and then you're gambling and then you're the slot machines, and a dating sim. It's like a dating simulator, So just a unique game, I think, as far as like a mainstream game on a console. The PS3 doesn't have anything like that. Nintendo doesn't have anything like that. It's a very unique approach, and it's a very mature game too. It's for an older demographic, but it's fun. I think it's a fun game. It's just so tediously rewarding, Yeah, I mean, it also has upcoming games, like I mentioned. There's certain titles that are coming out this year. Metal Gear Solid, Ground Zeroes, Watch Dogs, Destiny, Titanfall, Fantasia, Music Evolved. The only thing is that we haven't seen clips of them. Like, I haven't seen any footage of Titanfall on the fucking 360. And then I find out it's not even being developed by Respawn. So, it's being handled by another developer. So it was outsourced to another company, I guess. Or relegated. I mean, I don't know. I'm not so like looking forward to these games on the 360 because again, the 360 has limitations. It's gonna feel like they're downsized ports of these otherwise next-gen games, or meant to be next-gen. But it is nice that the 360 is still getting some of these titles. It's still getting new games. It's still getting a version of Titanfall, at least a version of Watch Dogs, Destiny. And I can imagine at the very best that these are really good games still, in its own right, as ports. Like it's not... The gameplay is still fun, instead of like a shitty garbage port. And I expect it to be pretty good. And last but not least, they brought up the E model. I didn't even know they had an E model of the 360. Like, I can't believe that. They have a smaller fucking model now. Like, it's even smaller than the Slim. It basically looks like the Xbox One's design. It has that old school VCR look. Flat box, rectangular box. But it's sort of the equivalent to the Super Slim on the PS3, the one that just came out, where it seems like they took away certain features of the system and it feels more downsized than before, and it's more like a final cash-in type of model. And yeah, it seems very affordable. You can get the 4 gig model of the newest E360 for about $200, and then there's also the 250 gig model for I'm guessing it's like $300, including Halo 4 and Tomb Raider. I would still suggest the 360 Slim, but you can still try this one. I mean, I guess it doesn't have the fucking component cables, I don't think so. It doesn't have the fucking AV cables. Certain things are missing from the previous models of 360 with the E model. Probably the best feature of these smaller models. It's pretty obvious. They're more reliable. It seems like they last longer, they don't break down, and they don't get the red ring compared to the freaking the fat model, which is, that one will just break, and it's quieter. You know, that's the reason why I got the Slim to begin with, is that it's a lot quieter. It's doesn't make that fucking loud noise. You know, the fat model is so loud, you could hear it from like a mile away. Really, it's like a thunderous rumbling. And then the article wanted to talk about some other stuff, other features, like you can access certain apps on it, you can access like HBO and Twitch, I don't know, video streaming, all these things on the 360 that you can't even find on the Xbox One. I like it, man. I like the 360 still. I think it's a fucking beast of a console. The library is awesome. And it's comparable to the PS3. I'd highly recommend getting both the PS3 and the 360 over any of the PS4, Xbox One systems. I mean, it's like... I just... If you're any actual gamer, if you consider yourself a fucking gamer and you play video games and you haven't experienced the best of what these systems have to offer, you might as well do it now. I mean, they're a lot cheaper now. I don't see a reason why you should just frog leap and jump into the next gen right away when you can still enjoy what these systems have to offer. I mean, it's like if you haven't experienced, you know, the Gears of War and the Dead Risings and the Fable 2s and Dragon Age, Dark Souls, any of these games, and many other titles. There's so many other titles out there. Time Shift, you know, from like 2007. Singularity from, I believe, 2009. You know, certain titles. Bulletstorm, you know, Splatterhouse, the first Darksiders, so another one, Prototype, Just Cause 2, you know, there's all these other titles that have been released over the years that's worth checking out, and they're a lot cheaper now, and you can just get them, you know, for the 360, and they're fun, they're actual fun games. And you don't have to waste, you know, $500 for the goddamn Xbox One. I mean, it's ridiculous to even consider it at this point. It's like the Xbox One and the PS4, they got nothing. Nothing compared to the 7th gen. You know, they have a weak library. No draw. With the exception of they're the future. But it's not worth getting them right now. You know, I'd rather just fucking... I would literally get another 360. I would get the E model. The 360 E model that I guess came out last year. I'd rather get that. And have like three Xbox 360 systems instead of like one Xbox One. And here's the answer to the question of the day.